Hello and welcome to the No Fear podcast. Today, Ophir and I dive into conversation with Luke Murphy, owner of Cane Masters. Please enjoy this conversation while we dive into the idea of young, innovative entrepreneurs buying baby boomer businesses and thriving by taking them to the next level.
Welcome to the No Fear podcast with your hosts, Noah and Ophir, where we sit down to discuss the journeys of accomplished young professionals who have taken action towards manifesting a career and a life that go far beyond the ordinary. Each week, we bring to you a young professional currently achieving success in entrepreneurship, STEM or other forward-thinking, innovative sectors. Please enjoy today's episode of the No Fear podcast, brought to you by House & Hughes, shophouseandhughes.com. The perfect destination for thousands of curated wall art designs.
What's going on, Luke? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Happy to have you. Let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about Cane Masters. How did it start? What's the business like today?
Cane Masters got involved with this through my dad about 2.5 years ago. He's an older guy. Started using some canes, and he liked nice things, nice canes, and stumbled upon this company that was producing handcrafted, U.S. made canes. And eventually down the line, he took over the business, liked the product, and started learning about the cane industry a little bit. And before I knew it, about a year in, I took over it and started, running Cane Masters, and, we're handcrafting custom canes for people all over the world who, need them for tactical use, mobility, all across the board, martial arts, and, it's been great.
I love how niche of a business that is. Generally people will have e-commerce businesses around posters or shirts or whatever it may be. So such a cool idea. I love that. At what point did you think it was a great business for you to purchase? Why did you really want to buy Cane Masters?
The reason I wanted to buy Cane Masters was because I really wanted to build a brand and like an actual company that I felt like could give value and change people's lives. That's kind of what's always got me to tick a little bit. Loved e-commerce, D2C. Learned a little bit of it through my neighbor, and people were drop shipping, doing all these things, but really wanted to get into the market, realizing that there was a gap to fill, and felt like I could change people's lives and start to provide value that wasn't given. So that's what we're doing day to day with Cane Masters.
With exception, obviously, you're probably not within the demographic of people that typically uses canes. So what's it like doing your market research, and how do you stay up to date with the needs of that market?
So that's a great question. A lot of that comes, from our customers themselves, right? I started in the business actually taking phone calls and emailing customers directly and really understanding, why do they want this product? And we're getting so many different responses. People that want something that's unique to them, somebody that wants to, move a little bit better, start training with the cane. Somebody, and some people want something that's a little bit more for self-protection, as well as, older people are targets and whatnot. So that's kind of how I gather the information, is really from our customers themselves.
During your time of owning the business, have you changed the products at all? Has there been a lot of innovation within these canes?
Not significantly. We've kind of just really boiled down of like what our customers were wanting from us, and then always tried to refine those parts. So for example, we handcraft all of our canes. So we do different cuts and, make these different striking edges and all these different, different things on the cane. And, we'll make different variants of, attributes, as we call them. So we haven't really steered away from the main product itself when I took over the business, but it's something, we do look at, quite often.
I love that story and how tactical that can be, especially for an older demographic who, as they get older, they can be looked at as more of a target. When you purchased the business, what was initially something that you felt that they were doing wrong, where you felt you can come in, change that, and upgrade the business?
Right. So initially, when I started getting my feet wet with the business, I was looking at the actual like platform that the business was on, right? D2C. We were on a really outdated platform called Zencart, which was used back in like the early 2000s. And I started to look at how, you know, the business was operating at the time, and realizing with, not optimizing anything you can in e-commerce, how it had such a strong, loyal customer base to it already. And I just felt like we weren't actually marketing yet. We weren't doing anything other than just word of mouth. Like people would see the product and it would sell itself. So I kind of realized that there would be, an opportunity to actually bring it to market.
So then how do you have that conversation with your dad? So you start negotiating with your dad on the purchase of this product, or rather of this asset. How did that conversation go?
Yeah, I mean, he taught me everything I know when it comes to operations and, manufacturing, and learned a lot from him. But he also realized that I did have a passion for e-commerce, and I kind of let him know that, hey, I've loved learning from you, but I kind of want to take this thing to the next level, and I think, I could with some of the moves I could make. He's an older guy, so he hasn't been in the e-commerce world before, and he really respected it, and thought that was a great idea. And, he just wants to see the business grow. So it worked out.
So you definitely have some e-commerce background, it sounds like, going into this. What were you doing before you did this, and what was the transition like?
Yeah. So before I was doing this, I actually had a company called National Law Enforcement Supply. We were making IDs for like bail bondsmen and, security guards at malls, and we were selling like their uniforms, and doing all this different type of stuff. I really did not know much about e-commerce at the time. So I was doing that, learning e-commerce, and my neighbor happened to be, a big drop shipping guy who was big in the e-commerce world. So I started to learn a lot from him, and he's very pivotal in my decisions, and that's kind of my background there. And I just kept, learning more and more, and then eventually, went away from the law enforcement supply company, and kind of had some realizations actually living in Boca about what the cane company could look like, and went from there.
So are you still running the previous business that you owned, or are you doing both simultaneously, or did you make a transition completely to Cane Masters?
Yeah, no, transition completely to Cane Masters. I just wanted to go, all in on it, and yeah, now we're here with Cane Masters. So
Where did that confidence come though? Was it the previous experience, or was it really based on, I'm seeing a hole in the market, I'm seeing that there's brand potential here, but it just hasn't been tapped into yet?
a little bit of both. I just really was surrounding myself with people who I knew were making money online in e-commerce, and then I also just felt like it was a great product. And when a product can sell itself, which I had found out by looking at the business, I just really looked at it as like, hey, I'm trying to build a brand and a company that's sustainable for the long run. So that's, what I was trying to get into. And that was where the confidence kind of came from.
So when you were scaling this business, did you have to do any crowdfunding, or was the majority of the funding coming straight from your sales?
Straight from our sales. I've just been pumping money back into the business. And one thing about me is I really like to, work on things where I can, and understand how that, process, or how to implement that into my business. And then from there, outsource it or pass it along to somebody else. I just, always want to have an idea of what's going on, especially in the early stages of the business.
So we often hear about entrepreneurs starting their own businesses, but with so many baby boomers starting to move into retirement, the story that Luke has is something you're going to hear more and more and more. Because think about it, that baby boom generation, that was like such a massive swath of the economy, right? Started all of these businesses that revolutionized Main Street across the country. And now at a certain point, yeah, they're coming to retirement. So I think we'll be hearing stories like yours more and more and more. I want to jump into how the business is today. What's been the biggest challenge that you've seen so far since purchasing Cane Masters?
So when it comes to having a product that is handcrafted and you're sourcing all the raw materials in the US, as you guys know, when it comes to growing a business, um, and you're crafting these products, it's more of the people that are involved in the business. You need to make sure that the people that are in the business who are producing these products are all on the same page and really care about it. Because if you're putting out products that are handcrafted and made to potentially last a lifetime, that's really like the key driving point of the business is like quality never takes a hit, and then just always keeping that as like the foundation, because if you can just, sell one cane to one person and they walk around and 500 people see that cane that day, you might sell five just off, the product itself, being out and about, right?
So I want to touch on two things that you said there. One, you were talking about people in the business, so I'm curious what your team looks like now and what the division of responsibility is. And two, with it being an older demographic, where are your marketing targets? Because I'm assuming that it's not the same Instagram, Twitter, TikTok kind of marketing like there is for other products, or it might be. Or what's your main, way of marketing there?
Right. So when it comes to the marketing, it's been surprising more and more every day, how in tune, the older demographic is. But to look at it a little bit closer, like Facebook, they're heavily on Facebook. So Facebook is a great avenue for us. Sometimes the older demographic has a little bit more time on their hands where they're able to do a little bit more, research and not make as many impulse purchases. So one thing we found that's been, really going well for us is putting out free information about our product and how to use our product on YouTube, because people really like to feel like they're getting value and understand what they're purchasing. So we put out a lot of content on YouTube, which has been great. People get comfortable with our brand and comfortable with our product, which helps them, make a decision from there. But yeah, they respond really well to Facebook, YouTube, obviously email marketing and just great customer service, right? That's also a really main point for us. But to touch on your other point, operational, in the warehouse, we have a team of, guys, craftsmen who are, crafting the canes. We also have shipping department as well. And then we, have obviously all of our customer service reps scattered throughout the world, and then we have contractors for marketing and growth marketing, all these different you know people that are involved. It's grown quite a bit, but it's been great.
So, a word of advice for those that are looking to not just sell, but also manufacture like you're currently doing. Where do you find machines for that? Where do you find the personnel for that, the experience for that? How's that experience been for you? And where are you actually finding these people and tools and so on?
The people, it really just comes down to seeing, like, finding quality people that you can trust, because I believe that if you find the right people, you can teach them the skills to be successful. It does help when they come with a certain skill set, but it is hard to find people who have crafted wood products or canes themselves. So one thing we've really done is tried to document and have a lot of processes in place where when we bring on somebody new, they really have an understanding of what it takes to keep producing these quality products. But that's kind of the main driving factors, like the people themselves, because if they're willing to learn, we're willing to teach them. So it's kind of goes hand in hand.
And then specific to machines, right? I mean, is there a machine dedicated to creating a cane? What's that like?
When it comes to the machines, there's we're getting cane blanks, right? These are actually, as of right now, they're just wooden handcrafted canes. So we have machines that are for sanding, and then it's actually technically all sanding, right? Because you're taking a cane blank and you're sanding down these different grooves and making these different horns and crafting these like palm rests. And So they're like spindle machines where it's actually, different sandpapers on machines moving different ways to craft the canes. And then as Ophir knows, you know, we've talked a little bit about some machinery that we have coming that's going to help us, ramp up production, with the CNC. So.
So, from an engineering perspective, when you get a cane and you have a custom request, is there like certain force analysis that need to go in depending on the weight of the person and everything that goes into it for the custom crafted to ensure they're safe and everything from a stability standpoint?
We do kind of take that into consideration. We offer canes in 1 and 1/16 inch, 1 inch round, 7/8, all these different wood diameters. So our canes are very strong. There's not really a weight limit. Like the cane's not going to break on somebody who might be, particularly heavier than somebody else. We also, like I said, we do all these sanding and these different cuts to the canes. We don't make cuts to take away from the integrity of the product. So there's not really like a strength issue.
You've touched on all these hats that you've worn in the business, whether relating to YouTube and marketing, manufacturing, customer service. Has that been tough on you? And then how do you scale there as well with being able to delegate over time, improving processes, and so on?
I would actually say from the operator of the business, that's actually made scaling the business a little bit easier, in my opinion, because I'm able to actually give direct insight to the people that I bring on. So everybody that comes into the company, at some point in time, I have done that. If it's sweeping the floors or actually packaging up the canes. Um, that's actually helped where I can give direct insight. And then from there, they feel comfortable because, they're getting the information from me. Things have obviously changed now down the line as we're growing, where, it's not as much directly me working with the new hires. But I would say that's just helped build the foundation as a whole.
What have you learned about leadership from that perspective and really understanding the work of each side of the business and maintaining and leading a team?
Yeah, I mean, I would say from, that standpoint, it's just really being able to show everybody that's on board with you that you're willing to do anything, right? Today I was at my warehouse and we had 2,000 boxes dropped off, and all the guys are out there, bringing in all the boxes, and I saw it happen, and I knew I had 10 minutes till my meeting, so I'm out there, moving boxes into the warehouse with them, just doing stuff like that because they really do appreciate it. And it comes down to you. People got to like you, right? Like they want to work for you. They want to build something together. And when you can show them your vision of what you think everybody's capable of, I really believe that's how you build, a great business. So,
It's so important what you mentioned, not to be in an ivory tower as the business owner. You got to lead the way, show them the way, show them that you're willing to get your hands dirty as well. So, kudos to you for willing to do that. That's obviously something that's very important.
yeah, no, definitely. That kind of goes back to just the foundation that I did learn from my dad, like with the operations of the business, was just seeing him go do, all the little things. And sometimes it's not the most fun, but it's like sometimes the most rewarding as well.
Being the individual at the head of this company, are there days where you wake up where you think to yourself, where you doubt yourself, where you think to yourself, I'm unable to do this, I need help, I need a partner? And how do you then rationalize through those difficult thoughts?
Definitely. There's days you wake up and, there's obviously unlimited amounts of things to do. But the way that I kind of, have really went about this is I always just try to focus on like the person that I need to be versus all the things that I need to do. Obviously, there's the important things that need to be done to operate the business. And I think just understanding there's growth every day and great things are being done has really allowed me to kind of find that sweet spot between being overwhelmed and feeling like you need more people, but that's kind of where my mind is with that right now.
I like that disciplined approach. Talking about vision specifically for the business, where do you see this business being in, let's say, 3 to 5 years in that medium term window?
In 3 to 5 years, I picture us as, going from a company that's handcrafting, canes here in the US, made out of hickory and oak woods to, manufacturing canes out of all different types of materials, getting into, creating even canes with diamonds in them and gold and really doing all across the board different customizations. I really want to push this thing to be the, number one walking mobility aid company in the world.
So you have some exciting long-term growth ideas. What's that first next step that you need to take in order to pursue that growth?
Yeah, so it comes down to tying up manufacturing a little bit more and being able to scale that side of the business a little bit easier. You can get a little bit strapped as you grow quickly when it comes to manual labor. So right now, getting a CNC machine and some automated processes in our warehouse, which will allow us to produce more, canes and walking sticks that we're already producing, but then also start creating a bunch of other products and allow us to really scale from that perspective.
Can you break down your revenue? Is it strictly right now e-commerce? Is there wholesale? Is there private labeling involved at all? How do you break down your revenue there?
Yeah, so it's just e-commerce. We have a little bit of a presence on Etsy, very little. Otherwise, we're just on our Shopify store. And we're looking to get into wholesale and do some of these other things, which we've had a lot of inquiries about. But we're just looking, we're keeping up, right? So hopefully very soon.
How do you draw talent into a business like this? Like Ophir said, a lot of businesses that were started by baby boomers might start to be taken over by people from the next generations, and people are probably trying to get into high tech, high ticket industries, and this is a very niche industry that has a very high growth potential, but might not be sought after for a kid out of high school or a kid out of college. How do you gain the best talent to join your team?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to really interviewing a lot of people and finding the right fit and somebody that you trust and they really, understand your vision and are there for that. Because like you said, from, a perspective of this isn't a tech company, this isn't, some awesome new product that's going to blow everybody away, but for us, it's really like, hey, you guys, our foundation of our business is we're going to change people's lives. The stories we hear about what our canes have done for people and, giving them new hope when it comes to movement and things like that. You just really got to find people that want to give that value and really feel satisfaction, building something together and kind of taking it to a different perspective instead of just looking at it as a cane. You're looking at it as like something that's really cool and going to be unique for the consumer.
Noah brought up a good point where oftentimes in our society, our new generation is looking at those like high flying industries and software and so on. So obviously your business isn't in the most sexy niche. It deals with, an older population around wood and so on. So what is your pitch to those in college or those in high school that you would give to say, don't necessarily go in the direction of software, don't necessarily go in the direction of technology, try to look at something that's more bootstrapped, something that's more archaic in a sense, but still has a lot of growth in this current society?
Well, there's so many products and so many things out there that people use on a daily basis and that have been around for, you know, hundreds of years. And, we're in a day and age now where we have new technology and we have new visions and ideas where you might be able to find something that instead of, creating the next product that's going to go viral and, whatnot, you can take a product that's already existing and give it, a new dimension. Like you could bring it and say, we're going to take this product that's being manufactured and has been the same way for, 25, 30 years and kind of put your own label on it and say, we're going to handcraft this for these customers. We're going to, be there for them, give them support. Just really look at bringing value to products in other ways than just, potentially the next big thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So are you strictly selling the canes, or do you have any kind of supplementary products that are sold around the canes with your brand, like maybe T-shirts or I don't know, coffee cups or anything like that? Have you expanded in that way?
We sell some t-shirts. We have some like cane stands as well. Some customers of ours collect our canes. Some customers have 25 of our canes. So they'll have cane stands that they display their canes on as art almost. They are works of art, so it's understandable. But um, yeah, other than that, canes and then just walking sticks.
Very cool, very cool. So what does the full process start to finish look like when someone wants to buy a custom cane? Do they send in a request? Are there drop downs on a page, or what does that look like? And what does it look like from that point until they get the delivered product?
Going back to my point a little bit about building trust with giving free content a little bit, there's a trust factor when it comes to ordering a custom product because they're going to our website and we have 100 canes about that are quote unquote template canes. So they come cut a certain way. We do allow for them to change the color, so the stain of the cane, or to add a laser engraving, which is unique. They can write whatever they want on the cane. They can change the length, but otherwise we have a design your own cane and a design your own walking stick feature, which if anybody's familiar, it's almost like going to, Nike ID and designing your own cane. You're actually going to that page and you're selecting all these different options to put on the cane. Then we're, getting the order with all the options that they've selected, and we're crafting the cane as we believe we see the best fit for that particular cane.
What I love about your business is if you've taken a 20th century product and just added a 21st century twist to it. Now, to all our listeners out there, think about how many different boomer type of businesses you're able to transform and really bring into the 21st century. Like you bring about Nike ID, right? If you think about cane customization through the internet, this was not possible 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And you're allowing that to happen now. So it's a beautiful thing. I love those types of businesses. I really like what you're doing. I want to hop into the question, which is the preface of our show. So as we begin to close up, what is the no fear moment that has really pushed you through your career and made you a force at all costs to come over all of these boundaries and burdens and headaches that you've had throughout your experience?
I would say probably one of the most pivotal experiences was just, I had the company in my parents' garage. And then, all of a sudden, I knew that it was time to kind of go on my own. And, signing that lease to my first warehouse, bringing on more employees at that time, getting to the warehouse and, getting, realizing I need to do all these different things, put in ACs, electrical, all these different things that, I felt like I was just getting hit in the face all the time. It really just made me kind of go harder. And from there, good things happen and we, had some awesome, content go viral. And it just kind of made me realize and give me hope that, the harder you work and trust the process and what's happening day to day, that, you can keep pushing through anything and, just keep on the path. It's a long game. So that's kind of my insight.
I love that answer, and I love the way that you attach so much depth to all of the experiences that you've had and your growth in the company. So what's some advice that you would give to a young entrepreneur who wants to take a business and really 21st centurize it? And do you have any potential examples of another industry that you might be able to do a similar thing with?
So my advice would just to, find something that you're going to be passionate about, but also want to build a business around. Because there's passion for your business, and then there's also, the financial part of your business, right? So those two things both need to be online or in line. And I would just tell them, look at what you think, you could bring value to product, and just see, where you can take it. Day to day, just start, digging in the weeds, doing your research, and just seeing, what that looks like. And when it comes to products that could kind of be changed now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think about too much other than canes and walking sticks these days. But I'm sure there's some things out there. That's something for you guys to probably go online and do some research. But that's kind of my insight on that.
As we conclude the episode, where can our listeners find you and where can they learn more about Cane Masters?
Cane Masters, we're on YouTube, Cane Masters, Facebook, Cane Masters. We also have a Facebook community, which is Cane Masters Community. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Cane Masters. So yeah, if you guys want to connect with us there, tell your grandparents, tell your loved ones, and we would appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Luke. We really appreciate you coming.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the No Fear podcast with your hosts, Noah and Ophir, where we sit down to discuss the journeys of accomplished young professionals who have taken action towards manifesting a career and a life that go far beyond the ordinary. Each week, we bring to you a young professional currently achieving success in entrepreneurship, STEM or other forward-thinking, innovative sectors. Please enjoy today's episode of the No Fear podcast, brought to you by House & Hughes, shophouseandhughes.com, the perfect destination for thousands of curated wall art designs.